and welcome back. I'm Adriana Monique Alvarez, the founder of Alma Publishing, and we are speaking to the contributors of Uncensored, Untamed, Unleashed, and today I'm super excited to have Brandy Knight. Hi, Brandy. How are you?
Hi, I am so happy to be here. Thank you
Uh,
so much.
Absolutely. So I want to dive into your chapter, and obviously we're going to cover all kinds of things, but tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us like who you are and what you do.
Totally. My name is Brandy Knight. I am the founder of Inner Calling LLC. And what I bring to the table professionally is emotional release work, accountability coaching, and Kundalini yogic technology. And and I also bring that to my life personally. So I'm a huge fan of walking the talk. So I really do everything that I do, whether it's at work during session or in my own personal life. And public speaking and storytelling and inspiring with my words has been very much on the forefront.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
We need the oracles to find their microphone and
Yeah.
get it
Yeah.
on.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, so I just want to tell everyone, if you haven't picked up your copy yet, it's available on Amazon. I highly recommend you go get it. Yeah. Oh, boom, there it is.
And it
I
just
love it.
feels, it's like you can snuggle it.
Oh, I know. There's nothing like the actual book, right?
And it's velvety.
Yes, it is. I know.
Yeah.
So I will say, Brandy Knight, you're chapter 11. You're pretty much like in the middle of this book. And I just want to tell people, I appreciate that Brandy wrote a few times. Pause and take a deep breath right now before reading further. Because when you get to your chapter, you are going to need to breathe. Because Brandy gives it to you straight, exactly the way I like it. And there's no mincing of words. So there's a few. You and I could have 10 interviews on this chapter.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Yes.
But there's a couple of things that I wanted to bring to this particular conversation. And one of them was this idea of not eradicating the ego.
Yeah.
Not doing that, but instead eradicating the self-doubt, the outdated belief systems. So will you talk a little bit about what does this look like? What does it look like to, like you said, our ego, it's part of who we are. What does this look like as we are remembering what we're here to do?
Yeah. Such an important part of, I think, moving into that Aquarian age and golden age space. If you've been in the esoteric scene or the spiritual scene for any amount of time, and even if you haven't, I'm sure you've heard like, the ego and the work around it, those terms kind of tossed around. It's a very popular, very common place now. What has been kind of this misconception is that having any kind of personality or any kind of strong stance or passion around a topic means that your ego's getting in the way. And then I've seen so many people throughout time, including me, not know how to just walk on the planet and be in their own body, because it's just like, oh, if I have a feeling or if I have an expression or if I have a desire, bad. So right? It's like that's just old. It's just there was a misstep in an interpretation there. Okay, as far as no one else needs to agree with that, but that's as far as the work that I do, that's what I believe. So how we can apply this particular theory is, number one, we gotta, we gotta start from the roots. And typically the roots look like, what's your relationship with your own emotional expression experience? Because when you have that dialed, then you can actually get to a space where that what you're feeling, is you, or at least serves your highest and best, and what your desires are, what your stances are, where your passions lie. So it's not just as easy as I'm going to meditate and boom. It's a lot more multifaceted, multidimensional, and requires the human to go very deep. But I celebrate, bring your personality to the table. That's what makes this life fun. I mean, we're not just here to like do the work. We're here to also have fun as far as I'm concerned. Let's enjoy this shit. Let's have fun while we're doing it. So bring your personality in. We're going to, if you're working with me or anyone who's like in this space, we're going to eradicate the limiting belief systems or the possessions, because most limiting beliefs are byproducts of what you've been exposed to, and you've absorbed them as if they were yours, but they're actually not. So I consider that a form of possession. So we want to ditch that shit, clean and clear that space. And then there you are.
I love this. And I have to tell you this funny story. So this was about 14 or 15 years ago. There was this lady I had known for a while, and she sent me an email, I think. And she said, I just want you to know, I heard about this website and they're looking for people to write articles, and they want light workers to contribute. And I said, oh, I'm not a light worker.
Surprise.
Said, oh, you are. And I said, no, because my idea of a light worker at that time was somebody who felt nothing, like they had no emotions, they had no desires, they had no passions, they had no point of view, they had no opinion, and they sort of just sat in a corner all day and meditated and, maybe had a few substances to help them stay there. Right. And I just didn't at all see myself as being that. And I actually never ever thought like I would have any sort of spiritual work to do in the world, because I'm like, well, I'm not that enlightened. I've got strong opinions, I have like basically everything you just described. So I love that you say this, because there has been a huge disconnect with all of that.
Yes. I'm an old school punk rocker, and I did hair for my first career. I mean, I've always been tapped into this, from the moment I plopped through the portal. I came here with extra bits and pieces, but the airy fairy, whatever that most is commonly paired with light worker image wise was never a match for me. But I was getting downloads. I'm extremely telepathic. I'm extremely psychic, just like so many of us are. And so there really is, for me, it's balance, because I mean, honestly, you're not going to be you're not going to show up to the magnitude of what you can show up to if you're keeping it on the lighter side of things. And we have to go into the shadow and be prepared and have the strengthened nervous system to sustain what that actually takes. And not everyone is meant for that, and that's okay. I am, and it sounds like you are. And so we're down and dirty, but what that gives us is the availability to go down into these depths. So we're not tethered. And when you're not tethered, you can rise higher and you can call that whatever you want, right? But you just have so much more available to you.
It's true. It's sort of like, the tree that's roots go the deepest, its branches and leaves can go the widest and the highest, right? There's a clear there. Okay.
100%.
Now, you also talk about this self-expression and giving space for this. So this is one of my favorite topics. I have to tell you, I'm taking a writing class, and no one in there is a business owner. They're all creatives, like true blue creatives, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lady, and her whole one woman show that she's working on is about anger and rage, and how as a society, like we are not into, especially an angry woman. We're just like, please go over there and deal with yourself. And when you're not that way anymore, then you can come back and join us, right?
Yeah.
So will you talk about how you approach this, and like, what do we do with our emotions, and how do we process it and express it?
Yeah. where to begin, right? I kind of wrestle with this every once in a while, because I realize that, people are coming to the table with different, if you take kind of like human design into accountability and like some different, astrological theories, they're coming to the that they're coming to the table with it. People are bringing different stuff, but I'm looking at, with my work and how I approach my life, a throat chakra is very unique to the human experience.
Mm.
And what expression looks like let's say someone's watching this and they don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Right.
Okay. They're like, I don't know what that is. So I'm going to go back, not too crazy, but just like a dip of the toe. Like, okay, everything is sound, and that sound creates a vibration, whether you can hear it with your ear, translator or not. Everything is sound. And so if you're watching this and you want to, you can just put your hand or both hands on your chest, take a deep breath, and then breathe out with no sound. And notice what the hands feel. This is a hand experience right here. Okay. And then you're going to take another deep breath. You're going to make a little bit of noise and notice the hands experience. You'll notice that the hands vibrate. That would be a step one if the idea of screaming and raging scares you.
Mm.
To get comfortable with your own power. And that's really what this is. When people have fear around someone else expressing themselves or themselves expressing themselves, it's a fear of power. So sometimes it takes a little bit, or, what I do almost every single day is I carve out time and space where I am screaming and raging, not only to kind of clean and clear the slate so I can come back to center, but there is a massive amount of energy that we can hang on to when we not hold, but express our rage in a responsible way. So think like if you have a desire and it's going to take you a certain amount of energy to get from point A desire to point B manifestation, an expression of all of your emotions in a very full and responsible way is going to be the fuel that can get you there.
Mm. Yes. Amen to that. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up, like I said, I could bring up a million things, is I love how you laid out these magical hours and some daily ritual suggestions.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, when I read this, I was like, oh, thank you for saying this, because I almost daily wake up on my own. I don't set an alarm clock. I just wake up at 3 o'clock or 3:03 or 3:13, right? And I have learned, come over to my rug and, kind of dig into some of this, because it is such a special time. But I have found, sometimes people are like, oh yeah, me too. And then other times people are like, you're insane. And, what are you doing? Go back to bed. So will you talk a little bit about these magical times and rituals?
Yeah. Totally. So, again, going back to the suggestion, this might not be for everybody, but it can be for everyone. In the Kundalini yogic technology practice, and just kind of like across the esoteric scene, these hours are working with the angles of the planets, specifically the Earth in the moon or the Earth in the sun. And we're working with potentially a 60-degree angle. And you could think of that 60-degree angle being almost like, how Halloween or All Saints Day or Dia de los Muertos is a thinning of the veil. This hour is, you could think of it in the same way. And what happens when the veil is thin, so to speak, the Akash is more available. And the Akash is also, the Akashic records or the subconscious mind is also more kind of malleable or available. So when you are putting a practice into place during the time when the veil is thin, right? So we see all these rituals happening during, Dia de los Muertos, and, all of these times where we're honoring whoever and whatever, and, whatever people do. I definitely have my own practices. You are rising above time and space itself. So you have not only command over your subconscious landscape, because that shit's recorded for all time. Okay. And depending on the practice, you can actually shift things around and step into your destiny. So think of like fate versus destiny, right? So destiny is my mission that I'm choosing to fulfill and wake up to. Kind of fate is like a little bit more of like, stuff's happening to me type perspective. You could think of it that way. So, it's a maximum. It's very powerful. It's called esoteric, but really it's like, everyone who's anyone with any ounce of power on the planet is utilizing these technologies and have been probably from the beginning of time. So it's extremely beneficial if you are looking to kind of have this awakened experience, or get from point A to point B, or, have a download or connect deeper in any kind of a way.
Yes. I like the way you explained it. And that is so true. That's exactly what it feels like when you're in that space. So, Brandy, where can people learn more about you?
So you can go on my website is innercalling.com, and it's spelled INNERCAULLING, like the call, the birth sac, inner calling. All the links to all my things are there. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm actually most active on Instagram, and it's the same thing. At inner calling, INNERCAULLING. So that's where people can find me. And I want to chat with people. Not a lot of people leave their phone number on there.
But can I say something about that?
Yeah.
That's actually so I knew I wanted to connect with you. Like you just kept popping up here, there, and everywhere. And I was just like, when people are just kind of glowing. And so I went over to your website and I was like, she has her phone number. And so I text you. Right.
Yep.
And then we had a phone call, like, I don't know, immediately.
Yeah.
And then this is what I want to say about you. I was going to say this after we clicked off of live, but I think this says so much about who you are. So we were in a session together at the end of last year, and it was, stirring the dream. And it was just like looking at who we are and the blessing that we're here to be. And at the end of that call, I invited everyone to look at all the little boxes on their Zoom and to reach out to someone who is just really, kind of popping out for them. Yeah. Now, I have to tell you, I always invite people, to connect or do this, that, and the other. And when I have given that invitation or something similar to it, no one reaches out to me.
Really?
It's literally never happened. Okay. So you send me a message, you sent me a voicemail, and you said, hey, you're the person, you're one of the people that I wanted to reach out to after that call. And I'm just like, how cool is that? Like, somebody did it. Like, okay, I don't have leprosy and all this. So I just want to say, like, number one, you were so present and shared so beautifully. Number two, you took the next step and you reached out to me, which just made me feel awesome. And I know we're going to talk here in a couple of days. Yeah. And also, I just want to say, like, I love, like, all the little tidbits that you leave me in my phone. Like, leave me a little voice message or cool note. And it's like the best thing. So I just want to tell you, thank you for that. And I want people to know, like, that's the kind of cool chick Brandy is. So,
thank you for saying that, Adriana, because, dude, we're here to connect. Like, I don't, I get it. I'm in a space now. I get a download and I have follow through. And if it sticks, it sticks. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, plenty of people are like, I don't want to talk to you. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's okay.
Yep.
But I know that I answered some sort of call, that I don't have to understand. And so, hell yeah. And here's the other thing that I think that you are so brilliant at is you have something here to teach. I have something here to teach. Those things are different. I'm going to learn from you. You are going to learn from me. And we really are, there's none of this.
Exactly.
There's none of
the hierarchy
this.
is gone, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
And we have to get to that space of just like, dude, like, I want you in my life.
Yes, exactly. It's like, part of, like you said, part of what makes this more fun, and we're going to have fun while we're doing it, is this, and going, hey, you know what? Like, I'm fascinated with what you do, and I'm aware that you get it and that you're clear on yourself. So let's hang out.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so go to Amazon, get your copy, chapter 11, Brandy's story is there. And I want to encourage you, if you are ready to tell your story in our next book, I put a link to that information. It's Sacred Redesign. Until next time, here's to making magic at 3 a.m. And I can't wait to talk to you, Brandy.
See you in the subtle realms.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.